All right, guys, for today's lab, we're doing a Coulomb's law kind of inquiry activity. Really, we're looking at what is going to be the electric force between two different point charges. To kind of simulate that, we're going to be using some magnets just because the magnetic force has a lot of similarities to the electric force in terms of their attractive and repulsive forces. So here's the general setup. We're going to take two magnets and kind of set them up so that they are having the same poles facing each other. So if you've ever played with a magnet before, they should be pushing away from each other. What we're going to do is we're going to carefully tape one onto the middle of one of your balances. And then we're going to set up the other kind of at the end of the meter stick, just kind of taped perpendicular. May need a few pieces of tape in order to achieve that. But yeah, just so you can hold it there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn on your balance. And then we want to make sure that we change the unit to be grams, which this is already set at. And then we also want to zero out the scale, which it already is by default. But let's say if it wasn't, all right, you put the magnet on it, right? It has a positive number. Let's hit tear, it's going to zero out. Now, our goal for this particular lab is to lower the magnet that's above and to see how the weight on the scale changes due to that magnetic force. To start, you want to start lowering it until you get a number greater than 0. And then we're going to move it back up. Our goal here is to figure out at what distance does the force begin registering on the scale. You can see it's still zeroed out. 0. All right. Okay, now I see it's at 0.1. Now notice this is really only going to work if I have it directly above. Okay, that's 0.3. Go ahead and lift it above a little bit. 0.2, 0.5. I'm going to raise it a little bit. My goal here is just find out what's the minimum distance that it can have without registering a force. And what I want to do is I want to then take a ruler. Okay, so I'm going to lock this in. I'm then going to take a ruler and measure the distance between these 2 points. I'm going to record that on my data table. All right, I'm then going to continue to lower it until I get to 3 grams. Again, my goal is I want to have it directly above each other. You get about 3 grams, right? 2.93, perfect. Go ahead and measure that distance between them. Again, probably is helpful if you have one person holding it and one person doing the measuring. And I would use a separate ruler to do that measuring. Okay. All right, and that's essentially the gist of this lab. From there, again, going to zero it out again. From there, you're going to continue taking a few different measurements. Make sure you do your conversions, remembering that ultimately, in terms of the mass, we're converting that to kilograms, and then we'll ultimately convert the kilograms into newtons for force. The distance, you guys are measuring in centimeters, but you'll want to ultimately convert that into meters. So there's spaces for you to do that in your data table. Once your data table is complete, you're then going to graph it on that paper and do a little graph analysis. By the time you guys are kind of into the graphing part, if I'm not in class with you guys by then, I should be there about that time. All right, read the instructions. Good luck.